Hi. Have you ever thought about convention centers or other large structures in a geographic sense? Well, let me show you what I mean. Convention centers are obviously huge geographic spaces, not just interior, but the exterior layout of the building. In this particular case, this convention center has a large interior, and most convention centers, in the true sense of the word, do have big spaces like this. So, in a geographic sense, think about those cities that would house a convention center. They can't be in some small town, right? Because they're not going to be close to a major airport. Also, they're not going to attract the kind of convention goers that would attend something like that. You've got to have a fair-sized place to have a large convention center for several reasons. So, what is the minimum threshold for a city size to have a major convention center like the one I'm standing in right here? The one I'm standing in right here is the Raleigh Convention Center in North Carolina. Now, Raleigh's not that big of a town by itself, but there's many reasons why Raleigh has a convention center of this size. First of all, there's other communities in the area: Durham, Chapel Hill, Cary, and this is sort of the research triangle of North Carolina. There's major universities around here: North Carolina State, Wake Forest, Duke, University of North Carolina. They all have major things going on that attract convention goers in sciences, technology, engineering, and so on. So even though Raleigh's not that big, it has things around it and activities around it that make it warrant having a convention center. You know what else is going on, though, is that a lot of times towns that want to attract people will build a convention center. So it's sort of a push-pull factor. In other words, they build a convention center and then people will come. And what happens around the convention center in the surrounding area? Well, it oftentimes spurs development. So where you might have had warehouses and industrial use, now you've got things like hotels, which happen to be across the street there. There's a bunch of hotels along this street. And the reason why is because these convention goers stay in hotels. And they spend money. They buy things, they go out on field trips, they eat in restaurants, things like that. So conventions are huge business. Huge business. There are thousands of conventions going on at any one time in many countries around the world in any given day. So, in this particular case, you've got a new convention center that was built in part to attract people to its city, and then by being there, it's affecting the local land use, and that all has to do with geography. So as you can see, this convention center that we were in a moment ago is really quite large. And these things cost multiple tens of millions of dollars to build, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars. But the return on investment is there, otherwise they wouldn't be built. The return on investment is what we were chatting about before, bringing people into the community. And then there's sort of so from that point of view, it's a economic geography discussion. On the more of the cultural, social geography discussion is the status that it lends a community to have a convention center like this. You know, these are like airports or civic centers. They're a source of community pride. It's a way to promote the community and to show people from all over the world what this community is like. Now, oftentimes businesses will come to a convention, different CEOs from organizations and stuff like that. They come to a convention and they say, this is a nice community, maybe I should locate my company headquarters here, or maybe I should open a franchise or a branch in this community. So that's more of an economic and cultural, social geography consideration. And then also, let's not forget the physical geography context, because these things are huge and they have to be built somewhere. And so you want a site that is accessible by public transportation, by roadways. You want a site that's actually fairly close proximity to an airport. So there's that going on. And they also want to look at, of course, the down and dirty, literally, physical geography of the local site, the soils, the bedrock. You want it to be obviously a stable, good site that's going to be there for a long time, that's good drainage and so on and so forth. And then what are you going to do about green technologies? In this particular case, this is one of 2 municipal convention centers that's LEED or LEED certified. Category 2, I believe, and they are actually building on the roof in the near future solar panels, and there's lots of passive solar already in the building. So it's a nice way for the community to showcase its green energy sustainability themes. Also necessary, because when you think about these convention centers, they take up huge amounts of energy to heat, to cool, to operate. So there's lots of geographic considerations that are going on here. Physical geography, cultural geography, economic geography, social geography. And so once again, it's all because of geography. From a regional perspective, let's not forget about that. Let's look at where nearest convention centers are in conjunction with this one. Where's the next large convention center? Obviously, there's not one 10 blocks away. You wouldn't be able to support something like that. So it's got to be a fair distance from another convention center.